gentlemen and female gentlemen, it is time for a lore dive. All right, it's been a fat minute since we did a big lore dive. I don't know much about Borderlands. I just know that recently a movie came out that was an absolute flop, but GameSpot dropped a video, The Complete Borderlands Timeline Explained, going through the timeline of the Borderlands game. So today we are going to be doing a full lore dive into Borderlands to see what exactly was obliterated by Hollywood. All right, so this Hollywood movie was a very critically acclaimed movie. It's currently sitting at a solid 9 out of 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's see what it's about.
The Borderlands franchise has a long and dense timeline, which spans hundreds of years of galactic history.
Long and dense. Just like no, it doesn't. It's not as good as Long as Hard.
Across 4 mainline games, a couple of narrative adventures, and the odd chaotic spin-off.
All right, holy shit. I didn't realize there was so much. I just thought it was 3 games. I thought it was 3 games. I had no idea it was like 4 billion.
I'm looking at you, Tiny Tina. And that's not even including the movie, which technically...
Bro, I can never unsee this.
And the odd chaotic spin-off. I'm looking at you, Tiny Tina.
Okay, I don't know what Tiny Tina is.
And that's not even including...
Look, these hands are the producer. These were not supposed to be in the shot. This person is supposed to be opening this vault, this gate, and this was an accident that they left it into the movie. This is an $115 million movie, by the way.
In the movie, which...
Did you see that? The guy with the mask? This is a random employee.
Technically isn't canon, and might even spin off into its own cinematic timeline. Who knows?
A cinematic timeline for this dog shit. Oh!
God, I hate this planet.
The Looter Shooter series has a surprisingly deep vein of lore that stretches over 1,000 years into the past. But how exactly does it all tie together? Well, it's not exactly straightforward. In fact, it's a little backwards, as the timeline basically works itself in reverse from the present day of new tales from the Borderlands, back to the vault hunting antics of the main trilogy, and...
Interesting, holy shit. So it takes place over 13 years. I am surprised. I didn't know that. I thought Borderlands was like Fallout. Again, this is a literally super blind reaction. Again, you know me. I consume all lore of every video game, every movie, every piece of fiction. It will all be consumed. I will consume it all. I thought this was just Fallout, but different.
And the con artist capers of Telltale spin-off Tales from the Borderlands. And that's not even mentioning the pre-sequel, which sandwiches itself in between the events of the first 2 Borderlands games.
What the fuck is this timeline?
With a tie-in movie starring Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, and Jack Black in cinemas, and rumours are swirling about a potential Borderlands 4. There's no better time to dig back into the lore of Gearbox's mad series.
It's lore time!
Hey, my name's Adam, and join me as I break down and explain the complete timeline of the Borderlands franchise.
So sad, because any game that has such a fucking awesome amount of lore, it always becomes so sad when the freaking movie comes out and just vandalizes its product. This is a loved franchise. People love this franchise. And then the movie just comes out and literally just defecates all over it. The Iridians, 1,000 years ago.
Okay, so the whole Borderlands timeline kicks off with the mysterious Iridians, who disappeared from the universe thousands of years before the events of the first game in the series. In short, the Iridians were a mysterious ancient alien species who came into contact with an evil entity appropriately named the Destroyer.
See, if I would name an evil entity, that would be on the list.
To put a stop to this all-consuming universal threat, the Iridians start construction of a giant planet-sized prison, aka the Great Vault, aka Pandora, the central planet that a good deal of the
Vault. Maybe that's why I thought it was like Fallout. Pandora. What is this? Avatar? I am very confused right now. I'm not gonna lie. So this is a lot more Warhammer-esque than Fallout-esque. This isn't like some sort of post-apocalypse. This is like an interstellar thriller, right? It's almost Star Wars-y.
The Borderlands franchise takes place on. On top of this main vault, they also create a false vault on Pandora, designed to trick future treasure hunters, as well as a host of biomechanical protectors known as the Guardians, and
wood.
Just to be extra safe, a giant guardian that goes by the name of the Warrior. Lastly, the Iridians build a whole complex of vaults across the galaxy, largely as test chambers to prepare future generations for battle against the Destroyer. Gotta appreciate their optimistic forward thinking there. Oh.
Wait, so the Iridians are this ancient race that hates this Destroyer, which is this dark god that'll destroy the universe or some shit. And their whole goal 1,000 years ago was to do their best to prep other people to take down the Destroyer. That's the major overarching plot so far, so it seems. I respect that. I respect that. That's a pretty solid premise.
Okay, to lure the Destroyer into his cozy new jail cell, the Iridians basically offer up their entire population.
New Mr. Beast video. Today we locked the Destroyer in solitary confinement without turning the lights off.
As bait, a plan that naturally isn't wholeheartedly embraced. To help support this mass sacrifice, they enlist the help of a siren, who in short are mysterious and powerful beings who can manipulate the elemental forces of the universe. The siren in question goes by the name of Nereid, and she creates a device on the Iridian homeworld of Necrotafeo to leech the life out of the Iridian people and into a machine that then seals the Destroyer in the Great Vault. And just like that, an entire
Alright, so wait, so it was they came up with this ultimate sealing jutsu to get rid of the Destroyer. That was the shtick. Ancient race tried to come up with the ultimate sealing jutsu and lock the Ten Tails into the fucking moon. Alright, makes sense.
Species is wiped from existence.
What?
Then seals the Destroyer in the Great Vault. And just like that, an entire species is wiped from existence.
This whole species sacrificed themselves to stop the Destroyer? The whole species? Self-xenocided? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Nereid then hightails it back to a vault on Necrotafeo to hide away the technology that basically committed genocide on a galactic level. Damn, this franchise has a brutal backstory. Anyway.
Holy shit. Wow, I thought this would be like more Necron style, that the Necrons were able to seal the Catan, 60 million years earlier in the Warhammer universe. I didn't think it would be actually just an act of selflessness. Like, this story is not remembered by descendants. This is remembered by historians.
Anyway, let's meet some humans.
All right, let's go. All right, fast forward 700 years. The corporations! Who are the real bad guys? Is it the Destroyer, or is it capitalism? Leave your answers in the comment sections below.
While there's nothing to compare to the suffering of the Iridians, humans don't exactly fare much better in this hellscape of the galaxy. Their history within the frontiers of the Six Galaxies kickstarts around 320 years ago, when the human race...
Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. It was a self-sacrifice. Yeah, that's what I said, self-sacrifice.
Finally masters the science behind superliminal spaceflight. This breakthrough allows them to reach for the stars, and humanity starts colonizing across the galaxy. And in order to regulate this, a centralized government is formed to keep tabs on the vastly expanded reach of the human race.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. The Imperium of Man. Every good-ass sci-fi space adventure with giant monsters needs a fucking corporation, am I right?
And this colonial era lasts a good 200-odd years until it all comes crashing down at the hands of business.
Yeah! Capitalism. The thing I like about capitalism is that it is the best system of any systems. Was that a hot take? My favorite thing about capitalism is that it is the longest system to collapse. Not that it won't. It probably will. But at least it lasts longer than other ones. So there we go.
Yep, the government...
You should know by now, my takes are never genuine. I am an arbiter of chaos. If you have been offended, it means you lost.
Government is eventually overthrown by a conglomerate of greedy megacorps, which kickstarts a lengthy and bloody...
Long live the banks, as Palpatine would say.
...war between the two factions. And when I say lengthy, I mean the best part of 40 years. Yep, that brings us up to about 68 years ago, and the galaxy is now largely run by the business executives. And it's at this point that the surviving megacorps broker a deal for peaceful trade, a deal that they call the 30-year Accord. The deal lasts 4 months.
The 30-year Accord lasts 4 months. That's capitalism!
Yep, in the hungry world of big business, the megacorps start fighting among themselves again for the lines.
Sounds about right, sounds about right. If I was a megacorp in a creepy dystopian universe, I would also fight for business.
Share of, well, anything. And across the next decade or so, the corporate war sees the number of megacorps dwindle until it's just a handful of absolutely rotten enterprises.
America used to be run by the small business people. And then Amazon, Walmart, and Apple took over. There were only a few left! Giant monopolies controlling the people! Big pharma! Yeah, right. But there's a cheaper medication, but Big Pharma won't allow it. Holy shit.
Chief among these are a number of megacorps that will come to be quite important across this timeline, such as the Atlas Corporation, Dahl, and Hyperion, all of which just happen to make weapons.
That is a coincidence, okay? There is no proven connection between the production of weapons and military might and war and school shootings. We have all been made fully aware that shootings has nothing to do with weapons. It is a coincidence, and I will not stand by this slander. All right, so that whole corporation war lasted 300 years. It was a 300-year war where originally a lot of little corporations happened, and then a lot of bigger corporations showed up. All the little corporations are wiped out. There are a couple of big fucking arms dealer corporations that are currently the ones that are largely in power over everything. I do like that it's not some sort of centralized government. Like, it definitely has inspirations maybe from other franchises, but compared to something like Star Wars, obviously, it's not like the Galactic Empire. It's not like some giant democracy or giant dictatorship. It's not like the Emperor of Mankind controlling people, and it's not like the idea where you have God Emperor Leto. It's purely business-based, and purely based on business, Disney now owns your soul. Disney can copyright your life force, okay? I do appreciate that we're taking this much more from a sci-fi pragmatic capitalist dystopia instead of like an actual tyrannical governmental dystopia. It is definitely an interesting vibe. It gives a lot more freedom for characters to actually do their own thing instead of either be on the side of the Emperor or against the Emperor. You have a much more multifaceted universe, and I'm curious to see where this goes. That is definitely an interesting premise and setup so far.
Anyway, with the corporations largely controlling the galaxy, we enter into a new age of discovery, led by the very first Vault Hunter, Typhon de Leon. We're about 37 years back into the past at this point, and an orphan Typhon is seeking to escape the ass crack of a planet that he lives on, which just so happens to be the prison vault world of Pandora.
No, he doesn't release the destroyer, right? Vault Hunter? Vault Hunter?
Typhon eventually makes it off-world and starts a new career as a treasure hunter, a career that eventually sees him make a big discovery.
Alright.
Yep, Typhon is the first lad to discover one of the Iridian's vaults on the planet of Promethea.
Oh, okay, Promethea. That's a different planet. That is not the one with the destroyer in it. Whew! But okay, so these vaults basically are like the Everjails in Elden Ring, right? These vaults are like, these interdimensional sealing jutsus that are each sealing giant monsters. They're almost like dungeons. Right? Like, think about it. It's like dungeons in a video game where you go in, there's like a treasure in it, there's a monster in it, there's a couple of challenges or whatever. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. It's really interesting. And instead of them being natural, like, we don't know why these dungeons are appearing, but they're appearing now. Like, these are just an ancient 1,000-year-old vault, an interdimensional prison created by an 1,000-year-old race of monster destroyers that are currently extinct. It's an interesting premise. I am so with this so far. I am loving this. Please tell me they use this in the fucking movie. Like, this is the bread and butter of cinema!
Instead of rooting around inside, though, he basically sells his discovery to Atlas, who opens the vault to find a veritable treasure trove of technology. In short, the wealth of Iridian technology allows the Atlas Corporation to become the dominant megacorp in the galaxy, and they quickly snap up Typhon as the first official vault.
He is one handsome man. Holy shit, Typhon, you're looking good, brother!
Hunter, largely in the hopes that he'll bring them more Iridian technology. Typhon doesn't stay in this position for too long, though, as he falls for Queen Dido of Athenas, who isn't long for this world, leaving a grieving Typhon unemployed and alone. Atlas barrels on with their pursuit of Iridian tech regardless, and this eventually leads them to the discovery of more vaults back on Pandora. Word gets out about Atlas's discovery, and a flock of self-styled vault hunters descend on the dusty planet to search for
Wait, is that the main cast?
treasure. And across the next 2 decades, Pandora effectively becomes a hub for various vault hunting activities, with one of Atlas's rivals, Dahl, muscling in on the Iridian-built world as well.
That's so sick! Because he discovered these vaults, it started a whole new age of pirates. It's like almost like a One Piece kind of vibe. These are the characters you play in Borderlands 3? Dope. So he started like a whole new age of piracy. People going from world to world, finding vaults that you could raid and risk your life for infinite treasure. God, that's so sick! How could you screw this movie up? How did this movie get a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes? Space Gold Rush, this is awesome!
Dahl takes a different tack to Atlas, though, by shipping in a workforce largely made up of convicts under the guise of mining for a substance known as iridium. But obviously they're also running a side hustle to hunt some vaults too. Neither megacorp is particularly successful in finding anything, and both start to slowly withdraw their interest from the region, which leaves the planet as a bit of a backwater shithole with a population made up of mostly criminals and killers. Meanwhile, Dahl also establishes a base of operations on the Pandoran moon of Elpis, when they discover ancient mines that might potentially be iridian. Spoilers, they are. This enterprise does not end well for Dull, or Elpis for that matter, as their operations trigger an apocalyptic event on the moon that destroys much of the surface and incinerates the atmosphere surrounding the lunar planet.
Yeah, that's very bad. Incinerating the atmosphere surrounding the planet, that's very bad. That's very bad. So, yeah, there's obviously massive consequences, not just within the vault. It's not like, whatever happens in the vault stays in the vault, like in Magi, for example, where, God, I love doing these lore dives. They're so fucking cool. I love fiction so much. This is art. God damn it.
This cataclysm later goes by the name of the Krakening, and leads to the Dull Corporation hastily retreating from Elpis. Okay, before we get to the events of the very first game in the series, it's time to catch up one last time with poor old Typhon. After his poor fortune on Athenas, Typhon eventually returns to Pandora and gets caught up in the vault hunting craze. He meets an Atlas scientist by the name of Leda Calypso, and the pair fall in love. Becoming disenfranchised by the greed of the Atlas Corporation, the pair strike out to discover the Iridian homeworld of Necrotafeo, which they eventually crash land on. With their ship damaged beyond repair, the stranded pair start a new life on the planet, and they have twins, Troy and Tyrene. Leda, unfortunately...
Dude, this is so wholesome. That's the beauty of it. They're not caught up... There are no teams here. Being that the world is set up as some massive fucking... It's not an aristocracy, right? It's purely based on this capitalistic virtues where you have these fucking megacorps doing shit. There's no ideological ties from person to person. He could just decide he wants to fuck off and leave, and he'll fuck off and leave.
He dies during childbirth, lumping...
No! Bro, Typhon! This man suffered so much!
Even more misfortune on poor Typhon, who now has to raise two precocious tots who grow increasingly annoyed at their father. More on this pair much, much later. And that brings our happy-go-lucky Borderlands history lesson to a close.
Alright, everyone in my chat's hating on these twins. Bro, poor Typhon! Alright.
Okay, we're finally at the very first Borderlands game, which takes place roughly 13 years before the events of New Tales from the Borderlands, which remember is our North Star for piecing this crazy timeline together. The game kickstarts with a cast of 4 Vault Hunters. The Hunter, Mordecai, the Siren, Lilith, played by Kate Blanchett.
Wait, what?
The game kickstarts with a cast of 4 Vault Hunters. The Hunter, Mordecai, the Siren, Lilith.
They got a 50-year-old actress to play her, the Siren? You're actually kidding me. And they thought people wouldn't complain?
Lilith, played by Kate Blanchett in the non-canon movie. The soldier, Roland.
In the non-canon movie, yes.
Kevin Hart's character in the movie, and...
oh my god.
Brick, who just likes to smash things. As a side note, their respective origin stories before they step onto Marcus Kincaid's bus to the township of Firestone are laid out in the Borderlands Origins tie-in comics.
Alright.
Anyway, the game kicks off when you pick one of this motley crew and dismount the bus to enter Firestone. Only, just as they disembark, the Hunter's journey is rudely interrupted by a hologram that only they can see. This blue apparition goes by the name of the Guardian Angel, and she states that she'll be half of the Hunter's guide through the Borderlands.
Alright, mystery, who's this? Why do we have a guide? Who
the
knows?
other half is this chaotic little robot called Claptrap, who's pretty much the franchise's mascot.
Yeah, I've seen that guy everywhere. I don't know anything, by the way, about Borderlands, but I know this little robot guy.
Who hands the Hunter an Echo communication display and chaperones them into the dusty backwater town. And from here, the quartet of Hunters get to cleaning the place up, doing odd jobs for an assortment of oddballs including Dr. Zed and TK Baha. All the while, the Guardian Angel chimes in to help guide the team through their glorified chores, which all leads up to the quartet finally finding a Vault Key, or a fragment of one at least. Yep, despite Atlas and Dull searching fruitlessly for decades, this ragtag bunch stumbles onto Iridian Gold and Pandora in no time at all. Naturally, news of the Vault Hunters' find spreads like wildfire throughout the Borderlands.
No shit. It's a capitalist dystopia. Everyone fucking wants to get their hands on all the rich shit. They find spoils somewhere. That place is gonna become a literal hotspot of the galaxy. Dude, this is such a fantastic universe. It's a universe of bounty hunters and treasure hunters. And nothing in between, where money makes right every single time. A absolutely brilliant capitalist dystopia. Oh god, this is so cool. Please tell me they used this in the movie!
And this leads to a Dahl Corp scientist called Dr. Patricia Tannis contacting the crew to aid them with their new find. In a massive info dump, she tells the Hunters that she's finally found evidence of an Iridian Vault on Pandora, but that it can only be opened once every 200 years, and the next opening is coincidentally happening very soon.
I love it when that happens. It's like, when the stars align once in 4,000 years, which happens to be tomorrow! Dude, I fucking love when they do that in video games.
Because, of course it is. And so she instructs the crew to find the remaining fragments of the Vault Key, which sends them off to do more shooting and more looting.
Yeah!
Hot on their heels is the Atlas Corporation, who naturally aren't best pleased that someone has finally found a way into the vault while their backs have been turned. They send out Command...
Obviously, because you know one thing that the big rich mega corporation wants? More money! Someone managed to get their hands on something that's not us? Unacceptable! Like, it actually fits so well into the caricature we're painting for this mega corporation, right?
On steel to get control of the situation.
Like, have you ever seen Amazon say, listen, we're rich enough? That's hilarious.
And she rapidly makes her mark by kidnapping Dr. Tannis and nabbing the complete Vault Key.
God damn it! Bro, we put the Infinity Gauntlet together for someone else to just yoink it. What is this, Adventure Time again?
Eventually leads to a final showdown at the inevitable grand opening of the Vault. In attendance are the Vault Hunters, Common on Steel and her Atlas Goons, and making a special appearance, the Destroyer.
Oh shit, that's why we started with this. That's why we started with this.
Who emerges from the Vault and promptly skewers Steel.
Yeesh. Yeesh.
After a climactic fight, the Vault Hunters successfully defeat the Ancient Bastard, who is sucked back into its prison. And the game comes to an end with a little more context on the Guardian Angel, who turns out to be a broadcast signal from the orbiting Hyperion satellite. She congratulates the Hunters before revealing that the Vault will now be sealed for another 200 years.
Wait, so every 200 years, the Destroyer tries its best to break out of this vault. And someone needs to find a way to keep it locked in there before it just decides to go haywire and destroy the universe. Oh shit, that is a calamity on a massive scale. God, what a cool universe.
And in a final sting, we see the same satellite send down a signal to our mate Claptrap, which transforms him from the happy-go-lucky robot we know and love to an interplanetary ninja assassin.
What? Bro, it's just a meme. This Claptrap guy's just a freaking meme.
Catch up on this mad lad very shortly. But before we move on to the next stop in our timeline, the Borderlands franchise has always had a strong tale of DLC expansion content, much of it expanding the various narratives at play, and this kicks off right from the start with the original game. Yep, the main campaign was followed up by 4 story expansions of varying absurdity.
Alright.
The first,
the Zombie Island,
of which is the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned. Launching when every game contractually had to have a zombie mode, thanks Call of Duty, the Zombie Island of Dr.
Oh my god, Call of Duty really changed everything. Now every game needs a zombie world.
Dr. Ned sees the tip.
It was terror time again. Got me running through the night.
Still a doctor who's totally unrelated to the main game's doctor.
Oh my god, he has a mustache on his mask. This guy's awesome. I love him.
To Zed.
Dude, it is such a goofy universe.
I was never as good as my totally not made up brother Zed, and we're totally different people.
Yeah, I also have insecurities about my imaginary friends being better than me at everything that I do. You're not alone, Dr. Ned.
Accidentally turn a whole township into zombies. In short, you...
That is the most classic expansion shit I've ever seen in my life. We've accidentally turned everyone into zombies! Yeah, alright. Alright, what is it, Tuesday?
Spend the entire expansion investigating the good doctor, who obviously turns out to be a complete wrong'un. Next up is...
I love him! Turns out he's a bad guy, who knew? Nah, this guy's awesome. The dude with the mustache on his mask? Aw, ain't no way. I love this guy.
Mad Moxie's Underdome Riot, which is basically a glorified arena battle mode. It does introduce us to the ringleader of proceedings though, Mad Moxie, who is using the battle arenas to find herself a 4th husband, as you do.
If she's killed 2 husbands or more, stay away. Okay? Hot take! Hot take! If she's already killed 2 husbands, stay away!
The third expansion, The Secret Armory of General Knox, expands the narrative
Alright.
much more substantially though, and introduces us to a key character in
Everyone in chat saying wood. Guys! No!
Borderlands lore, Athena. Athena is a former Atlas
There are a lot of references to Greek culture and Greek names. From Typhon, Athena, we had Athenzia or whatever it was called.
assassin, who's got something of a vendetta against the Megacorp after she was tricked into killing her own sister. On top of Athena,
You just said that so casually. Oh, she was tricked into killing her own sister?
we also meet General Knox, a bitter mess
General Nux?
of a man who actively hates everything in life,
Oh my god, I'm also a bitter mess of a man! Bitter mess of a man that hates everything in life. You are my brother, General Knox. I will never let you down.
including himself.
Oh god, so real! Self-hatred is one of my greatest abilities.
Anyway, Knox is noxing about trying to get Pandora into line in lieu of Commandant Steele's
Classic Knox, am I right? Just nuxing around. Definitely subscribe for more nuxage.
failure. But this doesn't amount to much as he gets promptly dispatched by the Hunters and Athena.
No! Bro got promptly dispatched? They couldn't even give him the respect of dispatching him not promptly? Just ended him, took him out of his misery ASAP. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I will carry your legacy, General Knox.
And with Knox's death, Atlas and Dahl once again get the hell out of Pandora, which leaves the planet empty for another Megacorp to swoop in.
in a pure capitalist dystopia, there is no victory. If you defeat, by some miracle, if you defeat some giant megacorp, everything is just gonna get absorbed into another even bigger megacorp. Bro, there's always a bigger corp!
Hyperion. And so we finally catch up with Claptrap, aka the interplanetary ninja assassin.
What the fuck? This man has lore throughout the entire timeline?
For the 4th expansion, Claptrap's new robot revolution. As per the sting at the end of the main game, Hyperion downloads a new assassin signal into Claptrap in a bid to wipe out all remaining Vault Hunters. But unbeknownst to Hyperion, the assassin spyware they install into Claptrap triggers a rebellious streak within the little yellow bot, and this leads to a full-blown revolution. Cue the Vault Hunters having to quell the robot's hostile takeover, all while dealing with a host of slimy Hyperion executives. And there are a lot of slimy Hyperion executives.
Makes sense. They're rich douches. Rich white douchebags in charge of megacorporations that are literally more powerful than any government. Okay? Guys, you know why Amazon isn't literally selling you as cannibalism meat? Because there's a government. This capitalist dystopia is what would happen if there was no government.
And one last thing to mention while we're in this section of the first Borderlands game is the range of tie-in books that sit at this point of the timeline, including the Fall of Firestone comic book run as well as a trilogy of novels. And with that, it's on to the pre-sequel.
Alright, let's go. Pre-sequel!
Okay, Borderlands the pre-sequel is next on our timeline and fills the gaps between the first and second games in the franchise, but the pre-bit of the title is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. You see, while the game naturally fits here in the timeline chronologically, happening around 11 years before the events of New Tales, the pre-sequel is not your standard prequel, or sequel, as it
Dude, it's called a pre-sequel.
It largely builds its narrative around characters and events that happen in Borderlands 2, which we'll get to shortly, but while also relying on your knowledge and understanding of those characters and events. And deep breath. It's all told via flashbacks, regaled by Athena within a frame story that takes place after the events of Borderlands 2 and over half of Tales from the Borderlands. Okay, without...
Alright, I'm glad he's covering it this way and not making me need to jump back and forth and actually just tell me the story chronologically. That's why I like the timeline videos for the lore dives. Big Dangle, thanks for the sub.
Without further ado, let's get into the events that actually take place at this point in the timeline.
Alright.
Right, so the story kicks off in the wake of the death of General Nox, with Athena kicking...
No! Let him rest!
...about Pandora taking on any old jobs. She eventually gets word of a contract to find a vault on Pandora's moon Elpis from a Hyperion employee called Jack, soon to be self-styling himself as Handsome Jack, but we'll get to that in due time.
Oh god, I love him already. Look at this guy. Look at his chin sticking out. Let's go.
And she accepts his offer. She joins up with another crew of rogues and renegades, all of whom have played major roles in the series before pre-sequel, even if we've yet to meet any of them chronologically. On top of Athena, there's Wilhelm the Enforcer, who'll go...
Yo, look at this guy! Bro, this dude looks like a fucking Giga Chad.
On to become Handsome
Wilhelm the Enforcer.
Jack's right-hand man in Borderlands 2. Nisha, the Lawbringer, who will become the Sheriff of Lynchwood as
Lawbringer.
well as Jack's future girlfriend. Jack the Doppelganger, who is, well, a doppelganger
God, look at this guy!
of Jack.
Dude, these character designs are so cool.
Aurelia the Baroness, the sister of Sir Hammerlock, who we'll meet later on. And lastly, our good mate Claptrap.
Who's somewhere always here. Claptrap as a mistake.
Who's just happy being playable for the first time. En route to Elpis, the crew...
Dude, so, okay, alright. So... every Borderlands game follows a different crew through a different set of missions, just staged in this massive gold rush timeline. That is so sick. I love this. Oh my god, they could have done something with this. They didn't even have to adapt an actual game. They could have made a completely non-canon story with their own characters if they really wanted to. Just take place in this world, tackle the crazy society that the world currently exists in this crazy dystopian capitalist world with mega corporations putting their dicks where they don't belong, going on this crazy high stakes adventure like there was this D&D movie, The Honor Among Thieves. They did such a good job. It wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, but it was a fun ass movie. It didn't retcon any characters as far as I'm aware. They just fit into the overarching tropes of the world. If they wanted to create their own story and not actually adapt the game, they could have freaking made their own story and set it in the universe. There is so little love and passion that goes into creating shit these days. It's actually just saddening.
Were shot down by a volley of missile fire courtesy of a faction known as the Lost Legion, who are led by Colonel Zarpedon and a mysterious alien creature.
Wait a second. Is this mysterious alien creature one of those, what are they called? The Erebials, the guys that sealed away the Devourer 1,000 years ago?
And they crash land onto Hyperion's orbiting ship, the Helios, which is helpfully shaped like a giant...
The Helios. There is a lot, the Iridians. There are a lot of references to Greek theming and naming. Or Roman.
In age, just in case you forget which company owns it. After meeting up with Jack on the Helios base, the team of hunters finally make their way down to the surface of the moon, and it's here that they make their acquaintance with a good lass by the name of Janie Springs, as well as the familiar face of Moxie. They're also joined...
Hey, Moxie.
by the first game's Roland and Lilith, you know, just for shits and giggles.
Let's go! Dude, it's so cool. The bounty hunter lifestyle. It's so bright. Wait, I saw an interview of the guy that made the Borderlands movie. It was hard to understand him because his own penis was in his mouth. But what I understood what he was saying was he kept repeating himself, saying that, oh, dude, the Borderlands world is just so gritty and dark. We wanted it to be more alive and lifelike. This is such a lifelike universe. This is such a good vibes universe. They shit the bed so badly. I can't believe it.
Anyway, as the pre-sequel is effectively an origin story
$115 million, by the way.
for how Jack became handsome, or to put it more bluntly, totally batshit insane, the plot largely charts a course for his descent
You're gonna hate on my boy Jack?
into madness. After a climactic battle with Colonel Zarpedon, the team and Jack learn that the Elpis vault has been opened, and old Zarps gives them a dire warning about the contents within, but is instead treated to a bullet through her brain.
Did he just say board and kill her?
And old
Yeah, cool. Where's the vault?
Zarps gives them a dire warning about the
You must turn back. The power within the vault will trigger a chain of events
contents
that...
within, but is instead treated
Bored! Look at this guy.
to a bullet through her brain.
Oh my god! Handsome Jack, you piece of shit.
And so Jack and co hightail it to the moon's vault, fighting a host of Iridian Guardians en route.
Oh, so they're... Okay, so these are the Iridian Guardians. The booby traps that the Iridians actually set up to guard the vaults. It's such a cool fucking universe. The idea that these vaults are these pocket dimensions sealing away ancient monsters and treasures by these ancients from 1,000 years ago with booby traps that are still activated today to prevent people from unlocking the monsters. Like, they're... The Iridians from 1,000 years ago are the good guys. The humans that are living in this corrupt fucking dystopia are not the good guys. They're the protagonists, but they're not the good guys. They're just chasing wealth and riches, which is fucking awesome, don't get me wrong. But goddamn.
When they finally get there, Jack isn't exactly enamored with what he finds. Yep, the only thing knocking about in the vault is a mysterious floating artifact, which triggers a disturbing vision for Jack once he touches it. The visions, including glimpses of the giant Iridian warrior, turn Jack completely mad, and combine this with a punch to the face from Lilith that gives Jack his distinctive scarring, and
oh shit, look at this guy.
we have our
Oh my god, he looks
completely
scary.
mad. And combine this with a punch to the face from Lilith that gives Jack his distinctive scarring,
Yo! Crazy character design.
and we have our villain for Borderlands 2 fully formed.
Handsome Jack is the final villain of Borderlands 2? He went from the hero to the villain in his own fucking video game? That is so cool! Oh, man!
With Lilith retreating, Jack vows revenge on all the bandits that have ever double-crossed him, a plan that he confides in Athena. Athena has other ideas, though. Having witnessed the rise, or should that be fall, of Handsome Jack, she quietly makes...
Dude, we need Ryan Reynolds to play Handsome Jack. That would have been so sick. Funny, goofy guy, eventually gets punched in the face, becomes a complete fucking psychopath whose face is all fucked up. Dude, holy shit, he is screaming Deadpool.
her exit, which brings us back round to the frame story, which we'll get to later.
Also, the character designs are straight fire. Like, straight fire. They look so goofy in the movie, but... yeah.
But the narrative in this period between Borderlands 1 and 2 continues on in the pre-sequel DLC story expansion Claptastic Voyage, which charts Jack's swift takeover of the Hyperion Corporation.
I love how in order to make him a bad guy... think about it for a second. When you have some guy become the main bad guy, what do they do? What do they normally do? Think Warhammer, since we're talking sci-fi. I don't know, they get crazy, they join Chaos, they become some fucking overpowered demon prince shit. Okay. Think Star Wars. Alright, they join the dark side of the Force, they're powerful in combat and use Force lightning and shit like that, and they're mad. How do you write a villain, a super villain in Borderlands? A capitalist dystopia. Take over the fucking mega corporation. He just became the most powerful person in the world. Bro became non-government sanctioned Jeff Bezos, and he is ready to fuck you. That's awesome. That is literally just awesome.
During this hostile takeover, Jack learns of something known as the H-Source, which comprises a database of secret Hyperion documents, and is naturally something that Jack wants to get his hands on. The only issue is that it's stored away in Claptrap's mainframe, and so Jack comes up with the mad...
Dude, Claptrap just finds a way to become relevant in every plot thread.
...plan to send a load of digital copies of the Vault
This is Elon Musk buying Twitter. Oh my god.
...hunters into Claptrap to retrieve the H-Source.
Jack killed his boss with his signature technique, strangulation. Okay.
The hunters then have to battle against an evil inner version of Claptrap called 5H4D0D, or Shadow TP for the sake of ease and...
Bro, why do they do this?
...my sanity, which they eventually defeat en route to nabbing the H-Source. Once retrieved, Jack uses the H-Source to terminate the entire line of Claptrap units.
Are you playing as Jack? Are you actually playing as what seems to be the villain? Are you committing the hostile takeover over this corporation? You, the player? Because that makes this so much more interesting. There's no good and evil anymore. When you're in this universe where there's no good and evil, there's no right and wrong. There is just the rich and powerful that can't be controlled, and the people that go against them. Like, ultimately, is taking over this mega corporation a bad thing, or is it just you doing what they would do to you? Are you ultimately just doing what any successful person would do in this dystopia? Like, it really gets you thinking. Morals are a complete different vibe in a universe set up like this.
Except for the one that he sent the digital hunters into, which he shoots instead. But don't worry, this isn't the end of our old mate Claptrap, as the remnants of Shadow TP...
I wasn't worried. Claptrap is never gonna leave. That guy is, he's fucking Pikachu. He's gonna be there forever.
...sacrifice themselves to make sure he survives. And he's later found by Sir Hammerlock. Handsome
Sir Hammerlock!
Jack, meanwhile, gets his merry crusade against Pandora and the Vault Hunters started, and he brings down an iron fist on the Borderlands with the might of Hyperion behind him. As part of this crusade, he kills the CEO of the Atlas Corp. And
he's strangling the guy.
Also kidnaps and tortures Dr. Tannis to boot.
Oh my god! This man, he's going on a killing spree! He just actually does a hostile takeover on a mega corporation.
To get the all-important Vault Key, all in preparation...
Handsome Jack. That's so funny.
...for his grand plan, which he enacts in Borderlands 2. Speaking of...
Alright, Borderlands 2 time. God damn, what a build-up! That's how you build up a villain, God!
Yep, it's Handsome Jack's time in the spotlight now, as next up on the timeline is Borderlands 2, which takes place 10 years before the events of New Tales from the Borderlands. Borderlands 2 kicks off in the wake of the events of the first game, and the concept...
To the warriors who opened it, the vault was a containers of tentacles and disappointment. I don't know. Whenever I see tentacles, I am not disappointed.
Consequences that emerge from the opening of the vault. In short, while the Destroyer was defeated and sealed back away in the vault, the opening led to some, shall we say, side effects across the dusty borderlands of Pandora. Chief among these is the proliferation of a valuable mineral known as iridium, which starts erupting from beneath the planet's surface. Utilizing the iridium mineral deposits to his advantage, Jack doubles down on his search for the Warrior's Vault. Among all this chaos, a fresh
he's a big fucking corporation head now, obviously.
Bunch of Vault Hunters arrive on Pandora to seek their fortunes, and Jack immediately puts a huge bounty on their heads. In the mix is the commander.
I love how he puts his face on everything.
Axton, the Siren Maya, a Gunzerker called Salvador, and...
Gunzerker? Dude, there is so much personality in this game! The Gunzerker Salvador.
And the Mysterious Zero, who are also joined by two DLC characters, Gage the Mechromancer and Krieg.
Mechromancer! God! There is so much love and personality in these video games. Oh, God, it hurt. Every time I see the love that's put into this world, it just makes me sadder and sadder at the absolute failure that was the movie.
The Psycho. After the train they arrive on crashes, sabotage courtesy of Handsome Jack, the Vault Hunters awaken to the friendly sight of Claptrap, before being greeted by the familiar voice of the Guardian Angel, who now just goes by Angel. Angel directs the team towards the nearby settlement of Sanctuary, where they eventually meet up with Roland, who's now heading up a rebel militia unit known as the Crimson Raiders, and a bounty hunter called the Firehawk, who actually turns out to be Lilith. With a team...
Hey! Dude, I love that we get callbacks to the legends of the previous stories. And you love these characters. You love them. You were on their adventure with them. You survived by the skin of your teeth, something that you thought you may not be able to survive. But they walked away, And here they are to help you out on another adventure, risking their life. For what? For glory, for treasure, for the fucking awesome thrills of it all.
Teams starting to form, Roland and Lilith discover that Tanis' vault key is now in the hands of Handsome Jack, and they set in motion a
Handsome Jack
plan to retrieve it from a border Hyperion train. Aboard the Express, instead of finding the key, they encounter our old pal Wilhelm, who's now very much working for Handsome Jack.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Wait, Wilhelm, that guy was a monster. Wilhelm the, oh god, what did they call him? God, he has such a good title.
After defeating the cyborg nutter, the team steals his power core, and through accessing this, the team eventually learns a pair of shocking twists behind the mysterious angel.
Because I love how there's no sides in this story. Like, you could literally be playing either side of Wilhelm the Enforcer. You could play either side of this story, and it would make sense. It's not like it's just pure good and evil. It's just people going crazy. You know? People just going nuts, following their dreams, going on adventures, aiming to become richer and richer. Ultimately, you could follow any story, and anyone could be the hero. Like, no one makes your team any more moral than the people you're up against. It's just, that's the side the player is on for whatever reason. There are no morals anymore in this dystopia. And that's so awesome. That is so awesome. I love that it's not just some, like, classic good versus evil shit.
For starters, Angel is actually a very powerful siren, but more importantly, she's also Jack's daughter, although her relationship with her father is, let's say, complicated. She reveals that the vault key is located with her, as Jack is using her enhanced siren powers to supercharge it to force another vault opening, so he can set up his meeting with the warrior.
He's sacrificing his daughter for this shit? Remember how I said there's no morals, good or evil? Yeah, scratch all of that. There's levels and magnitudes of evil, okay?
To throw a spanner into the works of Jack's plans, she directs the team of hunters to a heavily guarded Hyperion facility in order for them to retrieve it and, well, kill her. The hunters eventually complete this mad, ambitious plan, but not without any losses. You see, in the process of stopping Jack and eliminating Angel, Roland is killed and Lilith is captured. Before Jack can manipulate Lilith...
Oh, shit. What's that necklace? That,
and eliminating...
Roland! No! Wait, they killed the only black guy? No, that's not right, bro. You can't do that.
Angel, Roland is killed and...
by Handsome Jack. I love how it's not some sort of massive mech fight. It's just, he was hiding behind a barrel and he shot him in the back. Fucking cowardly shit.
Lilith is captured.
And I suppose these, like, negate her powers or something? These, shackle things? Control device to control sirens? Did he use one of those on his own daughter? Oh my god.
Before Jack can manipulate Lilith, who's also a siren, remember, like he did with his daughter...
He did. He actually did. These are fucking mind control devices. And for sirens. And he did it to his own daughter.
She teleports the remaining Vault Hunters away to safety.
That's nice.
And with that last use of her power, Jack continues on with his plan by subbing Lilith in for his deceased daughter.
Anything for money, am I right, guys? His daughter died and he doesn't care. He gots to keep grinding. Needs to get his stock in the green.
And from here, Borderlands 2 barrels on toward its barnstorming conclusion, which sees Jack eventually complete his mission of opening the Warrior's Vault. With the Iridian Warrior...
The reason he kills Roland is because we kill his kid and he loved his kid. He had a mental breakdown when she died. Damn. It's not mind control, it's a 7K Volt shock collar that forces them to output energy. Yeah, that's not much better!
Rearing its ugly head for the first time in years, the
Warrior. Well, at least they have pretty simple names, these Vault monsters. The Warrior, the fucking, the Destroyer.
Hunters drop on by to put a stop to Jack and the Warrior.
Holy shit. Handsome Jack is on that Mr. Beast grind set. Today, I hooked up 2 sirens to a 7,000 Volt shock collar.
And after an epic battle with the latter, they finally defeat Handsome Jack.
No, Handsome Jack!
Once and for all. And with 2 messy vault openings in a short space of time, the revived Lilith makes the executive decision to destroy the vault key. But while she's tinkering with it, she accidentally triggers a device within the key that reveals a map of several Iridian vaults that are located across the galaxy.
Oh shit, that's so cool. That is so cool, dude!
A treasure trove of priceless intel that the Megacorps would naturally kill to get their hands.
Obviously, because the Megacorps, they're only aiming to get richer. People are expendable. They're just C-class personnel, after all. The Mr. Beast squad doesn't care about what happens to C-tier humans.
on. And with that, the main campaign of Borderlands 2 comes to a close. But before...
With opening up an absolute horror story of an endless crusade to find these vaults and just loot them for their riches. God, it's such a much more interesting story than I expected. I thought it would just be like off-roading and crazy fights. But humans are a renewable resource, and these vaults are limited.
Before we move on to our...
Next, if you go back, the warrior didn't come out of the vault. It was already out of the vault. Oh, shit.
Next entry.
You need to watch MatPat's video on Handsome Jack. Maybe I will.
On the timeline, there's a healthy dose of
10,000 likes. Maybe I'll do it.
DLC story expansions to get through. The first out the gates is Captain Scarlet and her pirate's booty, which sees the Vault Hunters
booty
travel to the desert town of Oasis in search of, well, treasure, naturally.
Booty.
To be more specific, they're after the fabled treasure of the sands, and they team up with the titular Captain Scarlet en route to
titular.
Finding it. Scarlet herself isn't exactly the most honourable of allies, and
honorable allies? Bro, have you seen literally every other character in this entire universe?
She eventually turns on the Vault Hunters, which obviously ends up leading to her death. Next up is Mr. Torque's campaign of Carnage.
Holy shit, is this Hulk Hogan? Is Hulk Hogan in Borderlands?
Where a previously undiscovered vault is located in a Pandoran crater called the, Badass Crater of Badassitude.
Yeah, that's a game that doesn't take itself too seriously. The badassitude!
I'm sure my British accent really sold that. The only way to open the crater is somewhat arbitrarily by the champion of Pandora sprinkling the blood of the ultimate coward on it. Cue a procession of escalating boss fights with an eclectic rogues gallery of misfits, as the Vault Hunter systematically battles their way to becoming the champion of Pandora.
That's hilarious.
All en route to opening the vault. Next up we have Sahar.
You have to fight people to become the champion and then sacrifice a coward to open the vault. For riches! For riches! Think about what they're going through for some riches! It's all for glory. That's what this entire story is about. It's not about fighting to survive, fighting for justice, fighting for freedom. No! Fighting for finding cool shit.
Hammerlock's big game hunt, which starts as a somewhat straightforward adventure to locate and catalogue the rare wildlife on Pandora, and evolves into a war against an evil Hyperion scientist called Nakayama and his army of Handsome Jack clones. Yeah. And
of course, they have clones of Handsome Jack. You can't have too much handsomeness. Man just likes putting his face on things, I told you.
Lastly, we have the most substantial story expansion, Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. Tiny Tina, a totally bonkers little lady, was an NPC during the main campaign of Borderlands 2, but her role here is greatly expanded. While the main campaign of Dragon Keep is largely told...
Dude, chat's saying best girl. Wait, what?
Within the fictional tabletop RPG, Bunkers and Badasses, the frame story finds Tina dealing with the death of her friend and ex-Vault Hunter Roland.
Aww.
Heartbreakingly...
Roland! Roland was her friend! Aw, man. And Roland was the one that was killed by Handsome Jack, right? Aw, shit. Dude, it's just... these are just such human relationships. People that are not you know, they're not together because of family. You know? They're friends because their bonds are forged in friendships that they've crafted together. Roland was kind of like her dad. Like, bro, this is like, what's it called? Ice King and Marceline all over again. She was in full denial of his death, and we see it full swing in the DLC. Dude, that's so sad. So her, like, semi-adopted father was killed by this Handsome Jack. And she's just fucking alone in this world. In this crazy fucking world that doesn't care about you at all. That's so sad.
Tina keeps her memory of Roland alive through the narrative of Bunkers and Badasses, a narrative that she's driving as the Bunker Master. In short,
it's like D&D, but she is making all the whole shit up. She is the players and the Dungeon Master.
She basically rewrites the battle between Roland and Handsome Jack to play out a scenario which sees the Vault Hunter emerge as victorious.
No shot. This entire story just takes place in her head. None of this actually happens at all. Oh, I'm like actually so sad inside. She makes up a whole fantasy about how her sort of adopted dad survives. That you play a D&D campaign that is all designed for her to help process the death of her father figure. That's tragic.
And through this, she works through her grief for her friend.
Dude, this is fucking goated storytelling. People are telling me that she gets butchered in the movie. Oh my god.
And with that,
the tenderness that they took to her character to make an entire game purely about her fantasizing how her father figure could have survived.
unexpectedly sentimental note, the overarching story of Borderlands 2 comes to a close.
Yeah, everyone's telling me that the ending of this Tiny Tina Wonderland made me cry. Oh my god. That is so sad. Even after she does in game, she still doesn't move on. Oh man. No, because it's a trauma that'll never leave her forever. Because one of the things that's so fascinating about this world, everyone's out there running around on crazy adventures, fighting for treasure, fighting for glory, fighting for all that shit, enjoying the adventure and the treasure, money, wealth, glory. It's all important, but it's all replaceable. A relationship.
But that is not the ending of Bunkers and Badasses, as the story of Tiny Tina's Wonderland also takes place within...
I'm just realizing Bunkers and Badasses is B&B instead of D&D. That's cute.
...the Mad Little Ladies tabletop RPG. Obviously, this spin-off doesn't really add much to the narrative of the wider Borderlands timeline, but it's a fun little diversion nonetheless. Simply put, you, the newbie, aka the Fate Maker, and two other characters, Valentine, voiced by Andy Samberg, and
Hey! Ain't no way!
voiced by Wanda Sykes, play out a fantasy campaign within Bunkers and Badass.
Good voice actors, goddamn!
Which sees the trio of adventurers come up against the almighty Dragonlord, who's voiced by Will Arnett. Long story short, the team eventually takes down the Dragonlord while learning that there are...
so cute! This is just a child's imagination! Dude, this is awesome! You enter Borderlands seeing crazy and wacky characters, but you leave seeing truly broken humans. Aw, man.
Nemesis is actually something of a tragic figure. You see, it turns out that the Dragon Lord used to be the Dragon Knight, and was Tina's character within the game, until, well, she accidentally turned her own character evil. This led her to
happens.
only playing the game as the Bunker Master from then on, which allowed her to basically rig the game so that only the good guys win. Anyway, despite the Dragon...
Again, childlike imagination.
Lord's sob story, he's still taken care of by the end of the game and locked away for another 200 years jail time.
Nice. Alright.
Okay, next up on the timeline is Tales from the Borderlands, which takes place 9 years before the events of New Tales from the Borderlands. As Tales is a Telltale game, there is a lot of choice and consequence, which naturally means that each playthrough is slightly different. Saying that though, all paths
cool. Fallout New Vegas style.
Largely lead to the same result, albeit via different means. Anyway, as we're no longer in the realm of the looter-shooter, the story really takes centre stage, and it's a narrative canvas painted on by a group
that is a face only a mother can love.
Of con artists. The artists in question are...
Dude, con artists! It's still the same vibe. Yes, it's not a looter-shooter, go on crazy adventures, fight for your life for treasure. It's fighting for your life, just on a battlefield of words instead. That's awesome!
Fiona, Sasha, and their mentor Felix, and the con is against a pair of hapless Hyperion employees called Reese and Vaughn. It all centres around a deal to buy a vault key, only nothing is exactly as it appears. For starters, the vault key supplied by Fiona is a fake, but the money isn't exactly clean either. You see, Reese and...
Yes! Yes! Oh my god. You see, I paid with fake money and got a fake object. I was scammed!
Vaughn are running their own con of sorts, having embezzled the $10 million they're offering up for the key. Despite all this, the deal goes sideways when the money is stolen by a group of bandits, which leads to the two groups teaming up to track it back down. To help speed things along, Reese installs a Hyperion ID chip into a cybernetic port located in his head, hoping that it might give him the insight he needs to find the money. It just makes him black out. Well, for now at least.
Now that's character development. Wealth, fame, power, Tiny Tina, the queen of the bunkers, attained none of this, or anything else the world had to offer. Her father's world sent her in a state of insanity. I thought that was going to go very differently when I started reading it. Thanks, chat.
The team eventually tracks down the money to an Atlas facility where Felix makes a move to steal all for himself, and depending on choices made by the player, he either dies in the process or escapes. Regardless, the team finds something even better in the depths of the facility, something known as the Gortys Project, which supposedly leads to another vault and untold riches. This information comes courtesy of an AI version of Handsome Jack.
No! This man he's like a freaking cockroach! You can't get rid of this guy! He's everywhere!
Which has now lodged itself in Reese's subconscious. Turns out that ID chip was part of Nakayama's old stuff, and we know his history with Jack.
Yeah, that's the guy that made all the Jack clones. Now he has a freaking AI ghost Handsome Jack in his head at all times.
The crew eventually...
He logged in to Handsome Jack. Oh my god, this is AI immortality.
Learn more about the mysterious Gortys project, which turns out to be a robot that was built for the exact purpose of locating a vault known as the Vault of the Traveler.
Right.
You see, the Vault of the Traveler is a bit of a tricky customer, as it is constantly teleporting between different locations, very rarely staying in the same place for too long. But before Gortys, the robot that is, can locate the vault, it needs updating, and this turns our motley crew of con artists into a verifiable team of vault hunters. Add into this mix the assassin Athena, who enters the story when she saves the crew and joins them on their quest as a result. Her time...
That's awesome. I love that we keep bringing back old characters. But, can you imagine the Elon Musk, what's it called, chip? You put it in your head, and then you just have fucking Elon Musk AI all over the place, talking to you in your ears?
With this new group of Vault Hunters is brief though, as while they're updating Gortys, they're ambushed by a woman called Valerie, who captures Athena and hands her off to Brick and Mordecai, which neatly brings us back.
Oh my god, Brick and Mordecai is the whole original crew! Aww! I love it so much! I love that we keep getting these recurring characters. Each game starts with new characters, but slowly but surely they meet these old characters. Some of them die, some of them become bad guys, I guess, but who cares? It's an interconnected world of crazy adventures. I love it. I love it. I love the lore. So far, this is probably going into A tier on my lore tier list.
Back around to the frame story of the pre-sequel.
Alright.
Yep, we finally reached the prologue and epilogue bits from the pre-sequel, which sandwich themselves in between episodes 3 and 4 from Tales from the Borderlands. Yep, it's finally time for Athena to pay for her crimes. Her crimes being her ties to the absolute madman that is Handsome Jack. After dutifully...
Madman or genius? There's a fine line.
Listening to Athena's story, which makes up the main events of the pre-sequel, Lilith decides to kill Athena anyway, despite the pleas of Brick and Mordecai, and the fact that the assassin actually turned her back on Jack in the end. She orders her men to open fire on Athena, but their bullets never find their target, as the assassin is spared by a living and breathing Iridian entity.
What? That's a twist. Okay, so Lilith, big mad, decides to kill Athena. Damn, that's crazy. Pre-sequel is Athena narrating? Damn, that's interesting. But she got saved by an Iridian? The ancient race from 1,000 years ago that made the whole freaking vault shit all together and locked away those ancient evils? By the way, you have to let me know in chat and in the comments if you want me to do a lore dive on every monster trapped in a vault. I saw someone do a lore dive on that, and I'm down. I'm freaking down. I love me some good monsters.
This mysterious stranger goes by the name of the Watcher, and she ominously states,
I am the Watcher on the walls.
All is coming, and you will meet all the Vault Hunters you can get.
That's it? That's the whole thing that you're gonna show us there? Oh my god!
And on that note of doom and gloom, it's back to the chaotic comings and goings of the con artists from the Tales from the Borderlands. We hit the ground running in episode 4, with Valerie now calling the shots, and so she orders Reese, Fiona and co to retrieve the final upgrade for Gortys, which will allow the robot to summon the Vault of the Traveler. The upgrade itself is located on the orbiting Helios space station, and so the crew hightail it back to the Hyperion ship with a little help from Scooter, an NPC who's been knocking about since the first game. Scooter sacrifices himself to make sure that the converted caravan ship thing they're flying makes it to Helios.
Why would he do that? Why would he sacrifice his life for them to be able to steal shit from a spaceship? Why was it that valuable to him?
R.I.P. Scooter, you mad lad. Reese eventually infiltrates Jack's old office, where he secures the update for Gortys, but the AI Jack knocking about in his head
Scooter's one of Mad Moxie's children? Oh my god.
sees his power by
Catch a ride! Why is everyone saying that? Was that his quote?
uploading himself. It's
Oh my god, bro! Stop bringing Handsome Jack back! I have to do the Mad Pat video on Handsome Jack.
into the Helios systems. Cue a mad dash to destroy the AI interloper, which results in Reese basically crashing the entire space station down onto the surface of Pandora. In the chaos of the crash, the remaining Vault Hunters
Oh, Scooter got trapped in the bomb that was powering the rocket. He had no choice. Damn. Oh, you hear the catch a ride voice line every time you spawn a vehicle. Okay, all right.
a good number of hapless Hyperion execs jump ship aboard a squadron of escape pods. But more importantly, Reese is able to take advantage of the chaos and chooses this moment to nab the all-important Atlas ownership deeds from Jack's office. This will come into play in a bit.
Oh my god. Jack is fucking brain rot incarnate. He brain rotted Reese to steal his own stuff so that this guy could take control of the corporation, but with the freaking AI voice of Jack whispering in his ear his whole life.
Anyway, regardless, with the final upgrade secured, the hunters upload it into Gortys, and hey presto, the robot summons the Vault of the Traveler. The hunters get a little more than they bargained for with the Traveler though, and it takes the combined might of a strike team assembled from the various alliances.
Dude, it's pretty sick that all the monsters, the Traveler, the Destroyer, the Warrior, they're really interesting. Like, there are these terrifying entities that 1,000 years ago, an entire species sacrificed themselves to protect the galaxy. And here you got these bumblefucks running around freeing them for riches and treasures. It's kind of hilarious if you think on it in just like a really sad, ironic way.
You've built over the course of the 5 episodes to destroy the Vault monster. And for their troubles, the team finally gain access to the Vault and its untold treasure trove. As their reward for fighting off a giant Iridian monster, Fiona and Reese make their way into the Vault to open its shiny purple treasure chest.
Right.
But the moment they open it, they immediately vanish, leaving the contents of the chest a mystery and bringing the events of Tales from the Borderlands to a close.
Ain't no way that's how it ends! Oh my god, dude, this fucking game.
While we'll catch up with Reese shortly in the Borderlands 3 section, Fiona's immediate future after her mysterious disappearance in the Vault of the Traveler actually takes place in the tie-in novel Dead or Alive, which chronicles Fiona's attempt to make her fortune when she comes into possession of a priceless Typhon de Leon action figure, as you do.
Okay.
Okay, next up on the timeline is the Borderlands 2 DLC Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, which released in 2019, a whopping 7 years after the main game came out. But let's not get confused with our own real-world timeline, you're here for Borderlands history. And Commander Lilith takes place 2 years after the events of Tales from the Borderlands, and roughly 7 years before New Tales. In the wake of the ending of Borderlands 2, the main game's ending that is, where Lilith accidentally uncovered a whole galaxy of intel on Iridian Vault.
Right. That was terrifying, and all the freaking goddamn annoying corporations are gonna start a goddamn interstellar galaxy-wide hunt for these vaults.
The Fight for Sanctuary offers up a mini-adventure of sorts where the Crimson Raiders' home base is invaded by a fresh mess of bandits. The invading force goes by the name of New Pandora and is led by one Colonel Hector, who was once in charge of one of Dahl's
holy shit, this guy's just Old Bane.
Celebrated regiments until they got buried in a cave.
Oh my god, is he coming?
In under the nearby mounts.
Ah, yes. Oh, let the semen flow.
Garen. Hector's gone a little crazy, and as a result, he unleashes a
based. Is there any character in the show that hasn't gone a little crazy? In this story?
A bioweapon of sorts on the unwitting sanctuary that turns its inhabitants into half-plant, half-human monsters. Lilith uses her...
Great! Well, we've already done the DLC turning people into zombies. Now let's start turning into people into half-plant monsters.
Her siren powers to save the Vault Hunters and transport them out of Sanctuary. Nice. And after developing an antidote to Hector's bioweapon, they launch a counterattack on their own home.
This is actual fucking Geneva Convention breaking shit. But there is no Geneva Convention. You know why? Because there's no controlling government! There's no guidelines! It's just mega corporations! Oh my god, look at this guy. Look at the character design on this man. Holy shit.
You're born in the dark.
At this point, Colonel Hector is so high on his own supply, literally.
Bro is actually high.
That he's turned himself into a...
Infected Hector. Infector Hector, bro. Oh my god.
Giant plant...
Dude, the bad guy. Thank you, very helpful. Dude, I love the introductions. Every single character is just such a fucking ride.
Monster of sorts. And after a climactic battle between the Hunters and Hector, the Mad Colonel attempts to assimilate himself with Sanctuary and the all-important Vault map. Lilith puts a stop to Hector with her siren powers, which kills the Colonel and destroys a good chunk of Sanctuary. Rip. And among the chaos of this botanical battle, the Vault map is lost amidst the desert wastes of Pandora.
Oh, so the vaults are just kind of out there now without an actual map. That's so much scarier. That just means that the big corporations are just gonna scour the galaxy blindly, going from planet to planet trying to find these vaults.
And along with it, the locations of the Iridian vaults. Once the fight is over, Lilith tells the other hunters that she feels a connection between the vaults, and she implores her crew to help her discover the vaults across the galaxy before they fall into the hands of the Megacorps, or worse. And this lofty mission leads us right...
What's worse than falling into the hands of the Megacorps?
Into...
I guess them just breaking out, the fucking vault monsters. Borderlands 3!
Yep, Borderlands 3 takes place next on our timeline and happens about a year before the events of New Tales from the Borderlands, which means there's a chunky 6-year gap between Commander Lilith and the threequel. A new threat has emerged in that time though, and it's...
Oh god, everyone in chat saying the bad one. No!
One that we've touched on already, albeit way back when. Remember Troy and Tyrene Calypso, the twins of Typhon de Leon?
Oh, I remember the twins. Oh, we're going back to Typhon.
Well, they've finally come of age and have escaped the Iridian homeworld of Necrotyphon.
This is where Sweet Baby Ink takes over the writing room. No, chat, don't say this. I am in love with this world now. I'm invested, goddammit.
Theo. They hightail it across the galaxy and eventually land on Pandora, where they fine-tune their emerging siren powers and amass a social media army of devout followers that they dub the Children of the Vault. Lilith and the Crimson Raiders naturally don't take too kindly to the threat posed by the Calypso twins, and so they hastily recruit a new team of Vault Hunters to help them fight back against Troy and Tyreen. And so meet our new playable quartet: Flack the Beastmaster, Mose the Gunner, Amara the Siren, and Zane Flint. This new team,
dude, they look sick. They still look good.
Starts by helping to locate the missing Vault map, which now just points to one Vault on Promethea. But before the Crimson Raiders can act on this new information, they're ambushed by the Children of the Vault, and Tyreen leeches Lilith's siren abilities, leaving her completely powerless.
That is such a gimmick. Wait, you can just steal siren powers? Alright.
Twins then nab the map and make for the Promethean Vault and the potential power that
the fist bump
lies within. The Crimson Raiders follow suit in their new ship, the Sanctuary.
She got X-Men. God damn.
3 and strike up an alliance with the new CEO of the Atlas Corporation,
Reese,
who is none other than Reese from Tales from the
Obviously. It's Reese, guys. Totally not because he has handsome Jack AI in his head.
Borderlands, now that he's in ownership of the company's title deeds. Atlas is fighting a war of its own against a...
Because that's how corporations work. You just steal the piece of paper and it's yours now.
Rival megacorp known as Malawon, who have partnered with the Children of the Vault, and so Atlas and the Crimson Raiders team up to take down their common enemies. They start by tracking down the missing
Wait, so there were so many different superpowers in the world, from the Crimson guys to the Vaults to the guys, to the Mega Corporation to the Vault Hunters. And these two random guys come out of a cave on some planet, fucking become social media stars, have a following, and are literally the world power now? That was fast. Look at how they developed Handsome Jack as a villain. That was awesome.
Fragments of the Promethean Vault Key, and they locate the first piece on the planet of Athenas. Here they meet back up with one of the playable hunters from Borderlands 2, the Siren Maya, who is busy working alongside her apprentice Ava. Maya and Ava join the Crimson Raiders, and the team eventually source the remaining key fragments and open the Promethean Vault. Naturally, this leads to another boss fight with an Iridian monster.
It's a little guy. Look at him. He's so small and cute.
And this one goes by the name of the Rampager.
Rampager's so little and cute.
After defeating the beast, the team discover that the Vault is linked to
oh, never mind.
another one on the planet of Eden 6. But before they can do anything with this intel, they are once again ambushed by the twins.
Bro, these guys! Why are they doing poses? What's up? They start Fortnite dancing and TikToking at each other. God!
While Tyreen leeches the power from the barely alive Rampager, her brother Troy leeches the siren powers from Maya.
This is such a gimmick. This is such a fucking gimmick. I can't believe it. I can't believe that they did this. I feel like every single villain so far in the show was written to perfection in regards to the broader lore. How does this fit in the lore? At all.
Which disintegrates her.
Bro thinks they're the Ginyu Force.
Right in front of her apprentice Ava. And just like that, another beloved Vault Hunter is dead. With very little to go on,
it killed her too? They're actually killing beloved characters from previous games? Aw, man.
Crimson Raiders make Eden 6 their next port of call, and while on the planet, they team up with Wainwright Jacobs, the CEO of the Jacobs Corporation, in order to locate
I like old people with guns. They're cute. Wainwright Jacobs, yes, that Jacobs! Hell yeah.
the next vault. Long story short, they open the vault and slay another beast. This one goes by the ominous name of the Grave Ward, and
okay.
Dr. Tannis completely destroys the remains of the beast in a bid to stop the twins leeching its power. Within the vault, they confirm the link between the vaults on Promethea and Eden 6, while also discovering a link to a vault on Pandora, as well as a mysterious fourth vault.
Roland's death was compelling and peak drama, and Maya's death was contrived. Damn. Aw, it always makes me sad when good shit falls off.
But as you can probably guess, before they can make for Pandora, the Raiders are ambushed once again by the twins, who kidnap the good Dr. Tannis and take her back to Pandora to livestream her execution.
Why are they live streaming her execution? Why? Are they fucking ISIS? They're fucking ISIS now. Why would they need to do this? This was a story about fucking dystopian capitalism gone rogue. Where does this fit at all?
This all takes place during Pandora's Carnivora Festival, which is basically Borderlands' version of Mad Max. But what the twins don't take into account is Dr. Tannis' newfound siren powers, which, well, comes as a bit of a shock to everyone, really. Okay, pause.
I thought you have to be born with siren powers. I didn't realize you could just get them.
One sec. Let's just rewind back to Borderlands 2 and the death of Angel, also a siren. In short, when Angel died, her powers were somehow transformed to Dr. Tannis, and the good doctor has been mastering her siren abilities in secret ever since.
That is the most contrived theory. That is... You're joking. Remember that very impactful thing that happened back then? Well, actually, it wasn't the way you remember it. Because Tannis Ex Machina is here.
She chooses this moment to finally reveal her siren status as a means to escape her public execution.
Yeah, that's a good time to do it, honestly.
Which is good timing if you ask me.
Yeah.
Regardless of all this, the twins have learnt that the key to the Pandoran Vault is actually the planet's moon Elpis, and they set about charging it with all the new siren powers they've leached over the course of the game. The Vault Hunters hightail it to Pandora to tackle the twins head on, and while they finally manage to kill Troy, which leads to a neat fake out teasing a potential Borderlands 4,
oh my god.
his sister Tyreen escapes and sees through their mad plan of opening the Great Vault in Pandora, which, if you can remember back to the history lesson, right?
Yeah, Great Vault in Pandora, that's the one that's holding the Destroyer, the really fucking bad one.
The beginning of this video is basically the entire planet. In and among all the chaos, Ava checks to see if Troy is really dead, and when she touches him, she inherits Maya's siren powers. Meanwhile, Tyreen does a classic bad guy monologue, revealing her plan to the Raiders, which is basically to leech the all-consuming power of the Destroyer and become an immensely powerful god.
Do you remember what I told you earlier in this fucking lore dive? Literally earlier in this lore dive. The thing that I like about Borderlands villains are that they're not necessarily evil, super powerful creatures. The fact that they are fucking people going for, because of greed in this dystopian world, they are committing atrocities in the name of greed. That is great villain writing for a world like this. I specifically mentioned I would become the most powerful creature and destroy the world. Dude, the villain in Borderlands needs to be Mr. Beast, not Madara. Oh my god. I can't believe this.
With the Borderlands endgame at hand, a message of help and support comes to the Raiders from an unlikely source, Typhon de Leon, the
there he is.
original Vault Hunter and the father of the Mad Twins.
I like this guy.
He invites the team to Necrotafeo, where he reveals the existence of the Iridian machine that was originally designed
Necrotafeo, that's the homeland of the Iridians, right? That's where they originated.
to close the Great Vault of Pandora. And so with a plan to stop Tyreen's mad quest to become a god, the Raiders set the machine in
The whole become a god idea so does not fit in the mythos of this world. At least so far, based on the theming that I'm picking up. Listen, this is the extent of my knowledge here, but I'm just saying.
motion in a bid to close the vault, but halfway through they are yet again ambushed by Tyreen,
of course, who's everywhere now.
Breaks the machine before it can complete
That was all part of her plan.
task. Not stopping there, she also puts an end to her dear old dad, leaving poor
No! Typhon, no!
Poor tragic Typhon to die while she teleports back to Pandora and her nefarious plans.
Aww.
While the machine is effectively out of action, Dr. Tannis is able to use it to fashion a portal back to Pandora, and the Raiders hotfoot it through to confront Tyreen.
Okay, so why does she need to be an influencer? I'm like really surprised. Like, I'm looking at this dialogue. Don't expect mercy, superfan. I'm not that kind of god. Like, I feel like nothing needed to fit here. And also, could they stop putting this haircut on every single character?
They're a little late though, as the Power Mad lass is halfway through leeching the Destroyer's power,
Oh
which
my
was
god. Wait. God. The Destroyer, remember the backstory here. Remember who the Destroyer is. This is a being so powerful, so dangerous, it could destroy the entire galaxy. So the Iridian species sacrificed themselves. An entire species sacrificed them to keep it at bay. It is an apocalyptic threat all along. It is the looming fear and destiny and end of life that needs to constantly be pushed off 200 years at a time. And here you have fucking Twinzo Bimbo, the fucking Twitch streamer, just can absorb its power. That is very frustrating. Bro, it's a shame the Uridians or whatever didn't just become Twitch streamers. Maybe they could have done it.
Results in a snazzy new title card for our big bad, Tyreen the Destroyer.
Ugh. I mean, it's a cool design, don't get me wrong, but come on! This is the Kaguya of video games. Ass pull out of everyone. God damn it.
And so we enter the final fight of Borderlands 3, the Vault Hunters and the Crimson Raiders versus Tyreen the Destroyer. Tyreen is eventually defeated, of course she is, and this leads to Lilith re-inheriting her siren powers back from the deceased twin.
Sure.
But while they celebrate this victory, the team still faces the imminent destruction of Pandora, and so Lilith makes another executive decision to put a stop to the vault opening. Using her refreshed siren powers, she flies up to Elpis and simply vanishes the entire moon, which, well, solves the problem nicely and neatly.
Oh my god, she can teleport a moon?
With no key to open the vault, Pandora's safe job's a good one. Only as a result of her miracle work, Lilith herself also disappears.
Damn. That giant phoenix in the sky. That's pretty cool. That's a really cool moment, honestly.
Leaving behind
Can't hate on it.
nothing but her Firehawk symbol as something to remember her by. And on that bombshell, Borderlands
So she dies at that time?
3's main campaign comes to a close. But despite Lilith being out of the picture and the threat at large being extinguished on Pandora, the adventures keep on ticking. As Borderlands 3 had a whole whack of story expansions.
Oh god.
The first out of the gate is the
Handsome Jack! Let's go! He's back! I love this guy at this point. I started liking him, then I started hating him, now I just like him again. Bro does not know how to quit! Death do not do him part!
80s riffing Moxie's heist of the Handsome Jack bot,
Yeah.
which sees the Vault Hunters helping Moxie to take down one of the last vestiges of Handsome Jack. That is except for his doppelganger, the slightly clueless
Timothy Lawrence. Not Handsome Jack.
Timothy Lawrence, who we haven't caught up with since the pre-sequel.
Right.
Long story short, the crew infiltrates the hellscape that is the Handsome Jackpot Casino before
Okay.
taking down the bigwigs running it. Namely,
What the frick did I just see? Why is there two robots, one with a bow and one with a mustache? Why did they rip his pants off? Wait, I have to see that again.
the crew infiltrates the hellscape that is the Handsome Jackpot Casino before taking down the big
Alright, so dude does a split on his male and female robot,
wigs
and then they
running it.
rip his pants off. This is peak fiction.
Namely, the 80s hairdo Freddy the
Oh, Freddy the Traitor! Undressed for success! Bro is ready to become an OnlyFans model. He is one step away from becoming a reply girl on Twitter.
Traitor and the 2-bit gangster Pretty Boy, who rides around in a giant Handsome Jack mech.
Let's fucking go. You can't go wrong with a Handsome Jack mech. Oh my god. Undressed for success.
The 80s hairdo.
Bro, this is actually just Dr. Disrespect. Keeps coming back. He's invincible. Dude, this is awesome. Holy shit. Wait, people were saying this one was bad or good? This is sick. This is peak Borderlands shenanigans.
Traitor and the 2-bit gangster Pretty Boy, who rides around in a giant Handsome Jack mech.
Sure.
Next up, we have the incredibly titled Guns, Love, and Tentacles.
That is a good title for a fucking story. Guns, Love, and Tentacles. Oh, yeah.
Which gives us a Lovecraftian love story of
DLC, good, bad game? Yeah, no, this looks freaking awesome.
sorts. Or just a Lovecraftian story, I guess? Sorry. So
Nice.
Hammerlock and Wainwright Jacobs are getting married, and they've decided to hold their wedding on the planet of Xylorgos, which isn't exactly the most romantic of
They have a Lovecraft DLC. That's so sick.
destinations. The planet is a frozen wasteland, and on top of that, it's home to a cult of nutjobs who worship a Lovecraftian monster called Gythian.
Nutjobs? That just sounds awesome.
Naturally, the cult, led by a woman named Eleanor,
Naturally.
do their very best to ruin the upcoming nuptials, and it's up to the Vault Hunters to save the day, which in this case means saving Hammerlock and Jacobs from death by tentacles. And Guns,
It's a good way to go.
Love and Tentacles finally reaches its happy ending when the pair decide to get married right there and then in the den of the monster, with the Vault
in the middle of the fucking tentacle orgy monster lair. That's so wholesome.
Hunter overseeing proceedings. Aw. Next up is the Bounty
Ah, a Lovecraftian marriage. How wholesome.
of Blood, which sees the Vault Hunters travel to the Wild West alike
They literally got married in hell.
planet of Gehenna, which has fallen on
Gehenna, that's literally hell. That is hell.
really rough times. In short, at some point in the past, a good chunk of the planet was ravaged by one of the megacorps, which left
Yep, sounds about right. Ravaged by, and you're thinking, was it ravaged by some massive monster that broke out of its seal? Nope. Ravaged by a corporation. Amazon realized they could build factories here.
the planet reeling and its people hanging on by a thread. Now, a ruthless gang of outlaws known as the Devil Riders have turned up to take advantage of the poor people of Gehenna. And so the sheriff of the town of Vestige sends out a bounty request for help that is answered by the Vault Hunters. And so the rest of the Bounty of Blood sees the Vault Hunters systematically taking down the members of the Devil Riders en route to a final confrontation with its leader, Butcher Rose. Lastly for Borderlands 3 is Psycho Krieg and the fantastic Fusser Cluck.
That is such a good name. There's so much personality here. Bro, there is so much personality here. Just makes me sad that they butchered the movie. It just makes me sad. I'm not even like some hell-bent big fan of the games. But it just makes me sad they butchered the movie when there's so much personality in this world.
Which is not easy
Krieg is best boy. Okay.
to say. Dr. Tannis is back to her experiments, and this one is all
Okay, the games, number 3, the game with the whole twins gaining power and shit, that looked like trash, not gonna lie. These DLCs look like straight fire.
about finding out what makes Pandora's resident psychos tick. As they're incredibly hostile people, she turns to one of the more civilized psychos she knows, the Crimson Raiders' very own Krieg. She comes to the conclusion that they all share one thing in common within their fractured psyches, and she dubs this Volthala. And in order to
Valhalla! Literally fighting for glory, and if they die in a vault, that is a death. They will be drinking ale from curved horns. The gods will sing of their arrival at Odin's table.
draw some more accurate conclusions from her hypothesis,
Is that a big heart?
Dr. Tannis sends the Vault Hunters
Krieg is Harley Quinn Bane. Okay.
into the mind of Krieg, which naturally brings mixed results. Most surprisingly, though, is Krieg's grief for the deceased Maya. And so much like Assault and Dragon Keep, we get a sincere character study of sorts mixed in among all the carnage.
That's so wholesome. I love when that happens. I love when they do a deep dive into the character psyche, how they cope with trauma. Characters that you wouldn't... like, this Krieg guy gives off the vibe as just fucking crazy berserker fight glory man. But when you actually look in his mind, he's just a broken man like everyone else that loses someone that they loved. You know, that's beautiful. It's somber and beautiful.
And that bittersweet note brings the overarching story of Borderlands 3 to a close.
Damn. Alright, present day.
Alright, we finally reach our last entry, New Tales from the Borderlands, which brings us into the present day of this crazy timeline. New Tales follows the misadventures of 3 hapless heroes, the inventor Anu, her fortune-hunting brother Octavia, and the frozen yogurt store owner Fran. Yeah, why not frozen yogurt?
What? Only Borderlands, bro. What?
It's delicious.
That's shit.
They get caught
That
up
looks like the type of ice cream machine Mr. Beast would have in his fucking solitary confinement chamber.
in another megacorp war after Anu was sacked from her job at Atlas by her old mate, the CEO Reese, who rejects her
Let's go! He's back, bro. Did not shave his mustache since the last Borderlands entry.
latest invention, a ray gun that's, well, non-lethal. The megacorp war in question
nice.
is between new CEO on the block, Susan Coldwell, and her company, Tedior, who attack the Atlas HQ on Promethea in a bid to get hold
I love how it's they're megacorps, but they will literally declare actual war on each other for financial stability in the galaxy. Like, imagine Apple and Amazon are going at each other, but Amazon decides, okay, today we're raiding Apple HQ and we are murdering everyone that works there. It's just business, guys.
of a vault key in Reese's possession. Our trio
let's be real here. If there wasn't a government, would they not do that?
of heroes all get caught in the crossfire and have to escape into the sewers in order to survive. And down there, they only bloody find the entrance to another vault. I thought these things...
Like, insane how this universe just became a corporatocracy, and it's literally plays into that. And every time it plays into that, it has such an interesting twist to the characters, to the world. Like, those are the interesting plots here, for sure.
were hard to find. They're literally popping up everywhere. After they enter the vault, they inevitably have to fight another Iridian nightmare.
Ooh.
And this one goes by the
God, that one's... They're fucking scary.
endearing name of the Devourer.
That's nice.
After defeating the Vault's Guardian, the trio discover a mysterious green
How on earth did they defeat it? How did they defeat it?
shard, which has the power to heal and revive people. And when they combine it with Anu's rejected ray gun, they come up with the mad plan to pitch it as an invention on the Dragon's Den-alike reality show, Sink or Swim.
That's hilarious. They have a Dragon's Den. A less ethical Dragon's Den. Why do they call it Shark Tank? Dragon's Den's the UK version. This dude's British. Oh my god. The Shark Tank. It's literal unethical Shark Tank.
Though it nearly costs Anu's life in the process of showcasing the ray gun,
Wait, if they don't like your invention, they literally feed you to a shark. Holy shit, this is so sick. That is dystopian Shark's Den. Shark's Den? Shark Tank. Oh, Lord. I love that. That's a fucking great play on words. Great way to actually do the themes. I like that.
trio is successful.
Dragon's Den, Nux is British confirmed. He said Dragon's Den. He's British. This Adam dude. This GameSpot journalist is British. Don't lump me in with them. Oh, God. I brushed my teeth. Thank you very much.
And win the show.
This is a Mr. Beast concept. Pitch me a new invention or literally get eaten by a shark.
Which leads to them getting the investment they need to turn the invention into a product. Awesome. The investment itself comes from a shadowy...
they signed an NDA, so technically it's all fine.
Angel investor. A business move which definitely won't come back to haunt the trio. No, sirree. With the cash in the bank, so to say, Tedior shows their faces once again and they attack and kill Anu, due to a bounty put on her head by the Megacorp after they discovered her Atlas ID at the sewer vault. Of course, she doesn't die though, not at this stage at least, spoilers, as Octavia successfully uses Anu's own invention on her to bring her back to the land of the living.
That is very convenient that they have a come back to life gun.
During her revival though, Anu was possessed by a mysterious spirit, who asks...
Listen, this gun can bring someone that dies back to life, but they accidentally get possessed by a spirit. Whatever.
Asks her to reunite them with their twin, a tantalizing tease that will become apparent shortly. With the trio all fully alive once again, they contact their angel investor, which obviously leads them all straight into a trap. You see, the angel investor is actually Susan Coldwell, who reveals that she has the other half of the green shard, hence that mysterious chat about twins, and has also created a supersized version of Anu's ray gun to boot. She sends out a message to all the other megacorps to join with Tediore by choice or by force, and then if they don't, she'll use her super weapon on them. The super...
Bro, this is fucking awesome. This is so sick. This is so dope. Listen, we have developed a super weapon. We are now immediately going to use it on our competitors unless they bend the knee. ASAP. God, it's crazy. Actual fucking corporatocracy.
The weapon in question is basically a hyped up torture device, which is capable of killing and then reviving a victim in a never-ending loop of torment.
They really came out, they were cooking. Bro, Jeff Bezos out here cooking. God, he would pay good money for this.
While all of this is going on, the shard spirit breaks free and somehow fuses the green shard with Anu. This enrages Coldwell, who needs both halves of the shard to enact her evil plans, and the trio eventually team back up to take on the mad CEO when she starts using her super weapon on the people of Promethea. And from here, New Tale storms headfirst into its conclusion, and there are 5 different outcomes available depending on the player's choices throughout the game. Regardless of which ending you get, the net outcome is the death of Susan Coldwell, the revival of the Promethean population, and the reunion of the 2 halves of the shard.
Not gonna lie, this one was cringe. Ain't gonna say it. Sorry, I hate to be that guy, but this one was a bit cringe.
Ships off into space, having possessed Reese's robot assistant, Timmy. And in its closing moments, we get a very brief cameo from Fiona, the con artist that we last saw mysteriously disappearing at the end of Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh yeah!
It's revealed that Marcus Kincaid has been narrating the story to her the whole time, and she theorizes on where the mysterious shard is heading. And the game ends with Fiona pickpocketing Marcus and heading off in pursuit of the shard.
That's cute.
And that, pals, is the Borderlands timeline fully explained. Well,
that was good shit. I like that one. Definitely check out GameSpot. That was a good breakdown. I liked it. That looked like a pretty not great final game. Borderlands 3 looked kind of mid. The actual DLCs looked really awesome. Borderlands 2 looked fucking great. I think the Tiny Tina B&B thing was definitely the highlight narratively. All in all, the lore for the universe, freaking good. I'm just gonna say I'll put it in B tier on the Nuxanor lore tier list. All in all, I would say that probably B tier, which is a good rank all in all. I do like Borderlands. I just feel like there's the fucking twin absorbing shit is just a little falls off. Fell off. I like the idea of the ancient civilization that locked away the vaults. I like the corporatocracy. I like the idea of the villains. Handsome Jack is the GOAT. 10,000 likes to do a Handsome Jack lore dive. Thank you all so much for being here. I do appreciate all of you. Fuck the fucking Hollywood shit stains that turned a brilliant and artsy world that is really cool at its high points into absolute dog shit 9% on the fucking Rotten Tomatoes movie. Stay weird, fam. If you made it to the end, click one of these 2 videos, which also will definitely get me canceled. See you live on Kick. Stay weird, fam.